Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to the beautiful pastime of Lord Sri Krishna. These pastimes are taken from the book of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Today we are going to discuss the talk between Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. Vasudeva said, "My dear friend, it is very difficult for us to live together. Although we have our family and relatives and son and daughters, by nature's way we are generally separated from one another. The reason for this is that every living entity appears on this earth under different pressures of fruitive activities. Although they assemble together, there is no certainty of their remaining together for a long time. According to one's fruitive activities, one has to act differently and thereby be separated. For example, many plants and creepers are floating on the waves of the ocean. Sometime they come together and sometime they separate forever. One plant goes one way, another plant goes another. Similarly, our family assembled maybe it's very nice, but while we are living together, after some time, in the course of the waves of time, we will be separated." Now, to understand this, what Vasudeva is saying, actually, he had 8 sons born in the womb of Devaki, but unfortunately, they were all gone. He could not even keep his one son Krishna with him. Vasudeva was feeling his separation, but he could not express the real fact. So he told, "Please tell me how they are there." He was asking the question to Nanda Maharaj, and he is telling, "Please tell me the welfare of Vrindavan people." He said, "You have many animals. Are they happy? Are they getting sufficient grass and water? Please also let me know whether the place where you are now living is undisturbed and peaceful." This inquiry was made by Vasudeva because he was very anxious about Krishna's safety. He knew that Kamsa and his followers were trying to kill Krishna by sending various kinds of demons. They had already resolved that all children born within the 10 days of the birthday of Krishna should be killed. Because Vasudeva was so anxious about Krishna, he inquired about the safety of his residence. He also inquired about Balram and his mother, Rohini, who were entrusted to the care of Nanda Maharaj. Vasudeva also reminded Nanda Maharaj that Balram did not know his real father. He knows you as his father, and now you have another child, Krishna, and I think you are taking a very nice care of both of them. It is also significant that Vasudeva inquired about the welfare of Nanda Maharaj's animal. The animals, and especially the cows, were protected exactly in the manner of one's children. Vasudeva was a Kshatriya and Nanda Maharaj was a Vaishya. It is the duty of a Kshatriya to give protection to the citizens, and it is the duty of Vaishya to give protection to the cows. The cows are as important as the citizens. Just as the human citizens should be given all kind of protection, so the cows also should be given full protection. Vasudeva continued to say that the maintenance of religious principle, economic development and satisfactory executions of meeting the demands of the senses depend on cooperation among relatives, nations and all humanity. Therefore, it is everyone's duty to see that his fellow citizens and the cows are not put into difficulty. One should see to the peace and comfort of his fellow men and the animals. The development of religious principle, economic development, and sense gratification can then be achieved without difficulty. Vasudeva expressed his sorrow due to not being able to give protection to his own sons, born of Devaki. He was thinking that religious principle, economic development, and the satisfaction of his senses were therefore all lost. On hearing this, Nanda Maharaj replied, "My dear Vasudeva, I know that you are very much aggrieved because the cruel king Kamsa has killed all your sons, born of Devaki. Although the last child was daughter, Kamsa could not kill her and she has entered into celestial planets. My dear friend, do not be aggrieved. We are all being controlled by our past unseen activities. Everyone is subjected to his past deeds, and one who is conversant with the philosophy of karma and its reaction is a man in knowledge. Such a person will not be aggrieved at any incident, happy or miserable." Vasudeva then replied, "My dear Nanda, if you have already paid the government taxes, then return as soon as possible to your place, because I think that there may be some disturbance in Gokul." After the friendly conversation between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, Vasudeva returned to his home. Nanda Maharaj and other cowherd men who had gone to Mathura to pay their taxes also returned to the home. So next we are going to discuss about Putana getting killed. While Nanda Maharaj was returning to home, he considered Vasudeva's warning that there might be some disturbance in Gokul. Certainly the advice was friendly and not false, so Nanda thought there is some truth in it. Therefore, out of fear, he began to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is quite natural for a devotee in danger to think of Krishna because he has no other shelter. When a child is in danger, he takes shelter of his mother or father. Similarly, a devotee is always under the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when he specifically sees some danger, he remembers the Lord very rapidly. After consulting with his demoniac minister, Kamsa instructed a witch named Putana, who knew the black art of killing small children by ghastly, sinful methods, to kill all kinds of children in the cities, villages, and pasturing grounds. Such witches can play their black art only when there is no chanting or hearing of holy name of Krishna is going on. It is said that wherever the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done, even negligently, all the bad elements, witches, ghosts, dangerous calamities immediately disappear. And this is certainly true of the place where the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done seriously, especially in Vrindavan. When the Supreme Lord was personally present, therefore the doubts of Nanda Maharaj were certainly based on the affection for Krishna. Actually, there was no danger from the activities of Putana despite her powers. Such witches are called Khechari, which means they can fly in the sky. This black art of witchcraft is still practiced by some women in the remote northwestern side in India. They can transfer themselves from one place to another place on the branch of uprooted tree. Putana knew this witchcraft, and therefore she is described in the Bhagavatam as Khechari. Putana entered the county of Gokul, the residential quarter of Nanda Maharaj, without permission. Dressing herself just like a beautiful woman, she entered the house of Mother Yashoda. She appeared very beautiful with raised hips, nicely swollen breasts, earrings, flowers in her ears. She looked especially beautiful on the account of her thin waist. She was glancing at everyone with a very attractive looks and a smiling face, and all the residents of Vrindavan were captivated. The innocent cowherd woman thought she was goddess of fortune appearing in Vrindavan with lotus flower in her hand. It seemed to them that she had personally come to see Krishna, who is her husband. Because of her special beauty, no one checked her movement. Therefore, she freely entered the house of Nanda Maharaj. Putana, the killer of many children, found the baby Krishna lying on the small bed, and she could at once perceive that the baby was hiding his unparalleled potencies, which resembled fire covered by ashes. Putana thought, this child is so powerful that he can destroy the whole universe immediately. Putana's understanding is very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that he gives one necessary intelligence, and he also causes one to forget. So Putana was immediately aware that the child whom she was observing in the house of Nanda Maharaj was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He was lying there as a small baby, but that does not mean he was less powerful. The materialistic theory of God worship is anthropomorphic is not correct. No living being can become God by undergoing meditation or austerities. God is always God. Krishna, as a baby, he is complete as he is in his full-fledged youth. The Mayavada theory holds that the living entity was formerly God but has now become overwhelmed by the influence of Maya. Therefore, the Mayavadis say that presently he is not God, but when the influence of Maya is taken away, he will again become God. This theory cannot be applied to the minute living entities. The living entities are minute part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are minute part and parcel or spark of the original fire. So, this sparks can be covered by the influence of Maya, but the original fire, Krishna, cannot be. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead even from the beginning of his appearance. Krishna showed the nature of a small baby and closed his eyes as if to avoid the face of Putana. This closing of eyes is interpreted and studied in different ways by devotees. Some say Krishna closed his eyes because he did not like to see the face of Putana, who killed so many children and who had now come to kill him. Others say Putana hesitated to take away the baby on her lap because something extraordinary was being dictated to her from within, and in order to give her assurance, Krishna closed his eyes so that she would not be frightened. And yet others interpret in this way that Krishna appeared in order to kill demons and give protection to the devotees, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Pavitranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam. The first demon to be killed was a woman. According to Vedic rules, the killing of a woman and a Brahmana, cows or child is strictly forbidden. Krishna was obliged to kill demon Putana, and because of the killing of women is forbidden, according to Vedic Shastra, he could not help but he closed his eyes. So today we will stop here and we will continue tomorrow. Thank you for joining. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.